Welcome to Information Lane. I'm Ashleigh.
I'm Curtis.
And tonight we're going to talk about love after epilepsy.
We're also going to talk about how epilepsy has changed our lives, but not our love.
We're going to briefly just demonstrate our... We're going to briefly go over our story before epilepsy. So last week we touched on it a little bit, but I want to go a little deeper dive into it this week. We were very toxic for each other before. We were two hard-headed individuals trying to find love. We knew what we did not want in a relationship, but what we wanted, we hadn't conquered that or encountered it with other relationships in the past. So our story started on September 11th, 2023. That's when actually Curtis asked me officially to be his girlfriend. And we knew, like I would say within the first 3 months of dating, that we wanted to be together and that we both were going to make this work. Curtis proposed to me on February 10th, 2024. And at the Panthers game, same year we won the Panthers.
Let's go.
Yes. Yes. So we had decided that we definitely wanted to get married, and we were in our 40s, and we did not want to be dating forever. Like, I don't have much time left on this green earth. So we had discussed it intensely. Like I said, Curtis proposed in February and we got married in November. Our anniversary date is 11/16/24. Something super cheesy that I want to share with our amazing audience is our wedding date is we started dating September 11th. So we did 11. Curtis's birthday is October 16th and mine is March 24th. So 11/16/24. How cheesy, but I love it.
We walked that out that day, just so you know.
Yes. So up to that point, we had very different communication styles. Curtis was an angry person. He had a chip on his shoulder from his past, all of the traumatic things that he had gone through, past relationships. I was a Miss Know-It-All, so I knew everything. You couldn't tell me nothing. And we were single, independent parents raising our children. We decided that in order for this to work and for us to figure out communication styles in a healthy pattern that we haven't had before, we were going to seek help from a therapist. And shouts out to our therapist, Lolita.
Let's go, Lolita.
And she helped us realize that we were on the same team and that life can be difficult and challenging, but it's in that difficult and challenging moments and how you speak to the person that you love. That's what is the most important. So no relationship is rainbows and unicorns. I mean, what do you think how far we've come since we've started doing therapy?
Well, I'm not going to lie. Everybody thinks it's so rainbows and cotton candy, but it wasn't, let me tell you. We were two broken people and we were trying to come together and accomplish one mission, but arrogance and ego, let me just say that, pride wouldn't allow us to unleash vulnerability to the next one. And truthfully, that is what was hurting us. We couldn't communicate correctly. It wasn't that we weren't saying the right things, is we weren't communicating it right. And Lolita told us it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes we were talking at each other and we wasn't talking to each other. So that's one of those things I want to tell you guys out there, talk to understand. Don't talk to respond, because you're going to be in a boat where you don't want to be. You'll have the creek with no paddle. So for us, I had to heal before I could understand what real love was. Let me just tell you. And that was the hardest thing that I could have ever did as a man. And I was raising kids by myself at that time. So that was really hard. I'm trying to find myself, be a dad. Now I got this beautiful lady in my life. Now I'm trying to be a husband. And now everything is rough. Honestly.
So we did therapy for about a year. We got married. Everything was great. Who doesn't have a great honeymoon wedding phase? Like, it lasted for, I would say, about 8 months. And then we were fighting and pulling, and it was just trying to come together as a unit. And so we had mentioned this before in the last episode. We got baptized. We started going to church. Let me skip back a little bit. We started going to church in April of last year, and we knew we needed something more in our lives because we couldn't provide that to each other. We needed God to be in the center of our marriage and to remind each other what's most important, because without God, neither one of us would be here. We decided to go to church. We had been going to church, and we decided, all right, let's get baptized. So we got baptized July 25th last year.
Hey, but this is the kicker. We did it together. She got to baptize me. I got to baptize her. So as a couple, that was one of those moments that we'll share forever. Just wanted to explain that to you guys.
Yeah, that was a great, very emotional connecting moment for us. And then, like we'd mentioned before, Curtis ended up getting epilepsy in September. He had his first seizure, and that's when life changed for us. But a lot of people think, oh, you have an illness. Like, how is that going to work? What's the dynamic there? And honestly, it brought us together. It showed Curtis that he can trust me, that I love him unconditionally. And so I think for us, epilepsy definitely was a blessing in our relationship, because we are so strong and we communicate so different, so much more effectively each other. We respect each other. Now, do we have perfect days? No. In fact, we had a little blow up last weekend, but I give him his space. He gives me my space, and then we come back. And that's what it's all about, is respecting each other in those moments. And with epilepsy, there are a lot of side effects with medication. There's frustration. You know, a lot of people talk about the Keppra rage. Curtis took Keppra one time in the hospital, and I'm gonna let Curtis tell you about that experience.
Hey, let me tell you, I took that, and this is my very first time ever taking a pill in my life. And for the first time, I understood what projectile vomit was, because I couldn't hold it in. I was like, oh my goodness. She had to pull over to the side of the road. Now, mind you, I just had a seizure. I lost 4 hours of my time. I was worried about my daughter because she's sitting in the back. She was only 11. And my wife, I thought we were in a wreck. So now I'm just jittery. She gives me this medicine. I take it, being a team player, and get violently sick.
And then on top of all of that, besides getting sick from the Keppra, the magnificent 911 people that showed up, the ambulance people, thought my husband was a drug overdose and shot him with Narcan. Like, how many of us out here that have epilepsy, well, not myself, but how many of you, the audience that's watching, have encountered a bad reaction when you're out in public having a seizure? I mean, Mike, have something like that ever happened to you? People sometimes refer to it as they look like they're drunk.
Yep. Or overdosing.
Exactly.
Because they've never been trained on, or they've never been taught what a person going through a seizure looks like.
Correct.
And, you know, on TV, you've all seen somebody freak out on drugs. Hollywood loves to portray that. And so everybody automatically assumes you're on drugs, including the cops. Yeah, I've had my car and home searched multiple times for no good reason other than when you call the paramedic, a lot of times the cops are like, let's go. And they decide, oh, you must be on drugs. This can't be epilepsy. And it is what it is, man. And
and it's sad. Yeah, it's sad because it's the medical field. But I mean, so we got through it. So I think with having being shot with Narcan, taking the Keppra, that's what made him sick.
They overdosed me on rescue meds.
So our journey started there. We became much closer, like I had mentioned. So that's pretty much our story in a nutshell from start to finish. Let me ask you, honey, what was like before epilepsy entered the picture?
Let's just be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It was out of control. It was chaos. Epilepsy. This might sound weird, but it puts structure on things in life. It made you appreciate the smaller things versus what the world throws at you. It encounters stigma, but I think that's just to help you build resistance to the ignorance that the world has. That's why we push education. At first, I was lost. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what we was gonna do. And by the grace of God, we figured it all the way out, but we did it as a team. So before epilepsy, we was lost, just lost. I'm not gonna lie.
For me, the question was what life was like before epilepsy entered the picture. For me, like Curtis said, it was chaos. But what I will tell you is that having your husband have an illness such as epilepsy it definitely makes you appreciate every day that you wake up.
That's right.
Because we never know when our time is up. So we've taken that for granted most of our lives. And so now we're so thankful. I mean, we pray for dinner. We pray often, even outside of dinner. We pray always. We say, thank you for waking us up, dear Lord.
Even if we have a conflict, we always give to God. We stop, we pray, and then we marinate on what we was mad about. Like, were you really mad? Like, come on, man, we're just being extra just because we can. But as a team, you have to realize when your partner's having a bad day. You can't add to it. The world's going to do that enough. You got to be that safe spot for them to come home to, or just call you on the phone. You got to be vulnerable and allow people in. And I think that was my biggest problem. I was too busy keeping people out instead of inviting them in.
And speaking of inviting, I'd like to invite Mike into the next question.
Hey, Mike.
The moment everything changed for you.
I've had a lot of those moments, believe it.
Yes, so because we talked about this too before. You had said you were in denial, and then your wife was like, yo, something is going on here. In that moment, what was that moment that changed everything for you when you were not in denial anymore, realizing, oh, she's serious?
What got you over the hill? You know what I mean? What put the
I know that moment. It was I had moved to Texas to be with her, right? Because I mean, I'll be honest, I was like, okay, you don't find this often, and she's willing to mess with you. You better lock that down quick.
Let's go, Amy. Let's go, Amy.
Let's go, Amy. No doubt, you know what I mean. So we had to get it done. But we were there, and she, was telling me, and like probably Curtis, maybe similarly, but it was like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm working it out. I got this little medicine I don't take like I should, and breaking it down, and I didn't realize I was having up to 3 seizures a week. And she was like, what had happened was you didn't understand. You were like, people don't get me, and they're being so mean to me, and I'm just having such a hard time in life. She's like, babe, you're having seizures, focal seizures, so you don't know you're having them. And you're probably not acting normal to people, and they don't know how to take you, and they don't.
Right.
She said, literally, you can't express to them what you're going through because you don't even know you're going through it. And
right.
So it was that, and then it was when we went to the second neurologist I ever saw in Texas, and they put me on Vimpat to help with the Keppra, which it did at the time. And that was love. And it was, instead of, seizures being this enemy that I need to deny and push away, and if I pretended like it didn't exist enough, it would go away, with somebody going, I love you enough to help you with this.
Right.
I love you enough to go, this is, yeah. And it was like, oh, wow. Somebody in my life loves me and says, this is serious and we're going to get help with it. I look at everything there. I look at the condition differently. I look at seizures. I look at I look at it all differently now because
I was just having to get used to those medications, because I never took meds in my life. So it was one of those things. It was like, I'm not going to take the meds because it's going to do something to me because someone told me that. But in reality, it saved my life. And education is one of those things that we really have to go through. And to learn something about your partner or the day is the main thing. So I want to ask Ashleigh, how did you learn to love different, being as you found out I had epilepsy? Becoming a caregiver while also remaining a spouse.
So that's a very fine line, because being a caregiver and being a spouse is very tricky, because oftentimes I over caregive, and Curtis always says to me, I don't need a mom. Stop being my mom. I'm okay. Curtis takes his medicines at 9:00, 12 hours apart. And so every day I'm texting him 9:00, and he's like, got it.
Well, it's drilled in my head now. It's like routine. You do it enough, it's going to come routine. You just don't even think about it. Your body just knows when it's 9:00.
So Curtis does construction for work, and he works nights. And so for me, that, I need to pack his lunch. I need to do this. He's like, I'm very capable of doing these things. Like, my legs aren't broken. My hands aren't broken. I can do these things. But ladies, wives, caregivers, I'm talking to you. A man packing his lunch and a wife or a caregiver packing his lunch, you're getting 2 different meals, okay? So
also, if I may, Curtis, let her pack your lunch, dog. What manhood do you feel like she's taking if you have a delicious lunch ready for you?
I promise you, my whole life it was like, I'd just been so independent. So when she started doing that, it was a shock to me. I was like, yo, I feel like I'm using her. I feel like she's being used. I said, this is not Ward and June Cleaver. I said, this is Curtis and Ashleigh, those who are equally as capable of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
So for me, it was coffee, by the way, just like I'm a big coffee guy, right? I have a French press. You know what I'm saying? A little grinder. I grind the beans, French press it. And it was really important that she do that for me. And it was weird. And believe it or not, I realized it was a trust issue. It was, I take care of myself, even on this tiny little thing. What makes me mad is making the coffee. And this woman wanting to love me and do an act of service to speak love into my life on just a simple daily basis. I don't even trust that because of how little love maybe I've experienced or the damage of past relationships.
And that was me too. Like I was so independent. I mean, fully independent. I had to do everything. If I wanted it done right, I had to do it myself. Yeah. So when she came along, like she loves that. She's a motherly figure. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, it is smothering. But we discussed that. We communicated. I don't say, get away from me. None of that. I say, Ashley, can you please stop right now? You know, you're giving me this hover feeling. And
motherly.
Yeah, and I'm doing okay. And I'll focus on what I'm doing. And then she wants me to do so good. Like she's right there rooting the whole time. But sometimes.
A little personal cheerleader, you know?
Just sit down. But yeah, she's definitely the best caregiver. Her and Rose are neck and neck. And I want to shout out, hey, Ashley, Miss Howell, my hero. I love you.
So yeah, it's definitely, I'm still learning. I'm not going to lie. I'm still learning how to be a caregiver and to be a spouse and a wife, because the spouse and a wife, you know, I want to love them. I want to hug them. I want to affectionate. I want to, you know, be with my man. But at the same time, I need to make sure that his needs are met as far as being an epileptic patient. So I want to make sure that he's covered on ground. And here's the other flip side of epilepsy. Curtis had a ball of energy. He did things all the time. And now with the medication, he's, you know, achy body, sore, like all of these things that they don't talk about epilepsy. People think it's just you shake and bake, and it's not that. There's so many other things. There's headaches, there's fatigue, lack of sleep, you know, just you don't have no appetite. Like that's one of the other things. I'm like, you got to eat. And he's like, I don't need a mother. I'm not hungry.
Well, not only that is I have to watch what I eat also, you know. Being that I have epilepsy, I just can't eat everything like sugars, and you know, you definitely have to change your whole diet. And for me, I love candy. I mean, literally, I eat candy. I'd rather have candy than food. And no lie,
cookies, but yes, man.
I cookies too. I'm a cake man. I love pie.
Yeah, see,
what's your kryptonite, Mike? What's your kryptonite?
Oh yeah, chocolate chip cookies. Like it is. Like my wife can't buy that Chips Ahoy box. Because I will sit there for one night. She'll be like, I bought that yesterday. Where is it? I'm like, I don't know. There was a cookie goblin that busted in our pantry and ate all the
Santa
cookies.
came early.
I was there just be watching Ancient Aliens or ESPN just pounding through them, you know. And then the problem is you get that glass of milk, and then if there's milk left, you got to keep eating cookies, you know.
Of course.
That's right.
Like,
hey, amen. You gotta get to the bottom of this.
I'm Oreos. I'm the same way. I dunk them. If they're still milking, I need more Oreos. Dunk them.
I want to give a shout out to Lorna Doone, the best shortbread cookie in the market.
Lorna.
All right, honey. I want to know, how has epilepsy changed your definition of love?
Well, for me, I think it put an emphasis on unconditional.
Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah, it definitely. If you can find somebody that's gonna wipe you down after you pee yourself after a seizure, you got a real one. And it happened twice. I'm not gonna front. Like she woke me up with a towel. I said, "Yo, what are you doing?" She said, "Well, you peed yourself." I said, "No, there's no way." And I did. I had a seizure and released some bodily fluid, and she was there to take care of it. So if that ain't unconditional, I don't know what is.
You just do what you got to do.
That's right. But she definitely has taught me to trust through this process, and in return, that's helped me do what I'm supposed to do, and that's lead the family.
So communication is key. Communication is everything in epilepsy. Oftentimes I've asked Curtis, how do you feel?
Well, I usually say I'm okay, only because I'm supposed to be the strong one. Sometimes you got to be vulnerable. Where's that word again? Remember, I said it. I'm gonna say it probably like 10 more times because it's about love, and love is based around vulnerability. But I just had to trust myself and get back to the game.
Yeah, and communication is definitely key. And for anybody out there that's seeking love that has epilepsy, trust me when I tell you, the right person will communicate and will understand where you're coming from. And they're not going to judge you for having a seizure. You're never going to be too much for somebody.
That's right.
Your person will love you regardless. So it's very important as a caregiver. Talking to my husband, it's very important for you to communicate how you feel.
That's right. And
it's the only way I'm going to understand. I'll never fully understand how you're feeling, but to communicate and connect.
I do sometimes, but also being as we have the epilepsy, we try to take as much sting out of it as possible because it goes for everyone. So if I say I'm having a bad day and you're having a bad day, what can we really do for each other? We just have to lean in. We have to lean in. So if I say I'm good, I'm good because you guys need me to be good. Difficult conversations, they usually come, especially when you're talking about fear. And she's asked me a bunch of times, like, how are you feeling? I was like, yo, I'm scared.
Yeah, those are the really hard and challenging ones because as a man, we've had this conversation so I can answer it. As a man, you want to be the provider and the protector for your family. So when you're having those vulnerable conversations as a man, your pride kind of takes a little hit. And it's just like, well, I'm not okay. And it's okay to not be okay.
That's right. And it don't necessarily make you any less of a person. It just builds your character. Because if you're like me, you got kids in the house and they're watching everything you do. If you are telling them, well, you got to get A's, you got to get on the honor roll, your life is honor roll. Let's just be honest. If you're not making a dean's list every day, you're failing yourself. You got to get up every day. I mean, every day you got to get up, you got to push, you got to go out, you got to work 16 hours, you got to seize your day, you got to go back, you got to take back what epilepsy tried to steal from you, because epilepsy is low down and dirty because it sneaks you from the back. It never hits you in the face, it comes from the back. So always keep your eyes in the back.
Mike, how's you and Amy's conversations and communication around your epilepsy?
Good. Curtis, you're ministering to me right now, bro. It's just, we just really appreciate you. For those that don't know, we do a Friday night show as well called The Feed. And Curtis is, he's every kind of man you'd want to be. But, man, hearing you say vulnerability and being honest about being afraid, that's hard, bro. It's hard to me. It's hard for me to even admit to my doctor, I pee myself when I have bad seizures. But that's very common and no big deal. And that takes nothing away from me that something takes over the brain and I'm not in control. But it's hard to say. Sorry.
Of course.
I know one thing, it's definitely it's been a battle. But for you, and not only that, is I applaud you also. I'm going to throw you some flowers real quick because you didn't quit either. When epilepsy hit your home, you could have just laid down, but you didn't. You got up every day and you pushed to master your craft. And I think you're doing an amazing job. And Miss Amy, you did a great job as his caregiver. And I look at you as the same light as Ashleigh because you saved two heroes to be able to survive the next day, to be able to put out content and make someone inspired for the day. And that's our mission here on Information Lane.
One of the things too with epilepsy is most people with epilepsy, one of their triggers is stress, right? So that's something that we had to tiptoe around because, like I mentioned before, we were toxic and our conversations were screaming at the top of our voices, yelling to each other. So it's like, all right, let's bring that back in. Let's dial that down. Let's figure out how to communicate effectively. And for me, as a caregiver, I didn't want to stress him out. But at the same time, that fine line of being his wife, where we're trying to have a conversation about financial things or the kids or how we're running the house or even something as silly as what's for dinner. I had to learn how not to stress him out and vice versa, because it wasn't fair for me to always use kid gloves around him when he wasn't doing the same for me. And it was like, oh, it's okay for you to come at me like this, but I can't come at you because I didn't want him to have a seizure. Like, how horrible of a person would I be if I'm constantly stressing my husband out? And he's like, freaking out and having seizures.
Well, not only that is my responsibility also as a husband and a person with epilepsy to communicate. Also, my fear shouldn't be your fear. I shouldn't take what I'm feeling out on the family, anyone around. I should just own it and then admit that I have an issue. And there we go again. Here comes that word, vulnerability. That's going to allow you to speak to someone that lets a tear run down your eye. And a lot of these epilepsy cases, that's what you get left with. You're sitting with your partner and the world's in front of you, but you're too busy thinking about a diagnosis. And for Ashleigh and I and Mike and Amy, we found a way to coexist and accept epilepsy into our life like that cousin that never brings anything to the barbecue except for excuses and a lighter and a friend who never has anything. So I don't know if that's how epilepsy hits you guys, but that's how I feel about it.
I got some backwoods in case you got something to put in them. No, not for you.
That's right. That's right. Nobody smokes Dutch Masters anymore.
Well, and one thing I wanted to say, Curtis, and this is something I think we're similar on, and actually something I think you're similar with Amy on, is love language, right?
Oh, yes.
So I was taught, I was kind of raised in a way that you take care of yourself. And, you know, maybe not even so much you were raised that way, is that you didn't have an option. Sometimes you had to feed yourself. Yeah, you had to figure out how to make it. Yeah, as a kid, yeah. And it's your parents thought love is letting this boy figure it out. You know what I mean? Kind of give him room to roam. Right. You know, and so like for me, my act of service is love language. If I do things for you, that is me showing you I love you. My wife loves touch, right? She loves touch. She loves to, you know, that. And I'm Mr. Give me space, because I was taught, you know what I mean? If you love me, you give me space and let me build a thing for you, I guess. You know what I mean? Give me Legos, I guess. Maybe that's why I love to cook. Believe it or not, maybe that's why I love to cook, because it is my act of service. And I like to chef, you know what I mean? I got spices on spices, right? And it's because when I serve her that meal, and I always bring her plate, you know what I mean? And when I bring her plate, that is the biggest and best way every little day I can say I love you. And, you know, for her, it's being held and, you know, being loved on physically. And so it's understanding those things. And it's very easy for her to go, yeah, it's dinner. Thanks. And I'm like, no. I put my heart, you know, into that. That's not my whole world. I make you a gourmet dish. And for me, it's easy to go, okay, yeah, I just need space. And for her to go, I feel like you are literally rejecting me, telling you I love you and taking that time. So love language, I think, can be a thing, you know, when it comes to this.
Yeah. And that's one of the things next we wanted to talk about was intimacy and connection. So like my love language, since we're on that topic, my love language to give is acts of service. If I'm doing something for you and doing the things, making your lunch, like all of these things, this is how I'm showing you I love you. And for me to receive is your time and touch. And so my other one to give is touch. And Curtis was not a touch person. I mean, it was almost like an ick feeling.
It was like stepbrothers when they were trying to hug each other. I was like,
exactly.
So
got him enjoyed.
He's learned and he's starting to like it. And so like another thing about the family dynamic is that we do have a 12-year-old daughter. I'm not biologically her mother, but I'm her mother. So
don't let her lie. She's a mother to all these kids. I mean, literally all the kids, and the kids accept her. They talk to her more than me.
So, and that's a good thing. So, but Curtis being a single dad, raising 2 young men and a daughter, because he wasn't a touchy-feely person, she wasn't until she met me.
Well, it was also my fault because she used to be this dainty little princess and she hated it. I mean, literally, she hated it. They used to put her in dresses and make her sit still and take pictures of her like a China doll. And she came to me, she said, "Can I jump in that puddle?" I said, "Baby girl, get in the dirt." And she had on this big dress. I mean, she was head to toe white. When we got home, that dress was destroyed.
And so for Curtis, like showing his love language to his children was providing a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food on the table. Like that was Curtis's love language for his children. It wasn't a touchy-feely type of thing.
And it wasn't. It was because I needed to show up. And so for me, like that was my love language. And if they can make a new one, it's called showing up. Because a lot of people don't. When you got parents out there, a lot of single kids, parents that have kids, they make excuses when their kids get into trouble. They say, "Well, he didn't have a dad in the house." It doesn't matter. Respect is built through everyone. My main thing was my kids to grow up respectful. Even no matter what we went through, they have to be respectful. And my daughter, she taught me how to be a different parent because I raised boys most of my life. So the discipline was different. This was different. The touch was different. So here we go with that again. Here goes my vulnerability. I was scared when I got my daughter. She went through some tragic things in her life with loss. But when I got her, I was like, yo, how do I take care of her? Like, she didn't come with no instructions. And like me as a dad, I'm like, how do I wash her? What does she eat? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, what's going to happen next? And she turned out to be my best buddy. And I call her Nugget. That's my nugget.
Issa lost her mother at a young age. So she just, the relationship dynamic between Curtis and her, it was father-daughter, but he wasn't touchy-feely. Right. So like when I came along, I'm touchy-feely. I'm like, come here, like, before school, hugging, kissing and everything. And she'll be 13 next month. And she's definitely like warmed up to it. I leave in the morning and I'm like, goodbye, I love you, have a good day. And I love you, bye, mom. So it's great because their relationship has evolved and it's definitely help the family dynamic.
And for me, I didn't have to force any of it. It was natural gravity. We all came together in one universe. The gravity pulled us in. I don't know if you guys watched Star Wars or not, but that tractor beam drew her right to us. We were in the right place at the right time. By God's grace, nobody meets on accident. And it started with a happy Saturday. And let me tell you, after that, here comes that ride.
So intimacy it made it easier having the children on board, our connection, it just made it stronger. But intimacy after epilepsy was definitely a tricky one for us.
It was. And let me tell you, intimacy is not just physical, it's mental. If you can get to a person's mind mentally with intimacy, then their body is going to come literally. But but for me, it was I'm going to be vulnerable.
It's a family show.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was vulnerable. Here we go again. I was afraid of intimacy. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, well, what if I get in there? Because they told me my brain will, if you don't want to just be out there with your brain firing on all cylinders, So I had to take it easy for a while. And one of my biggest worries was, and might be funny to some people, is while we were being intimate, I have a seizure.
I told him, don't worry, honey, I'll just hold on and enjoy the ride.
We don't need no blue chew.
Little blue chew gold now.
I'm so kidding. But it was definitely hard for us after he was diagnosed, like to be intimate together because you release that dopamine in you. And when you're in your feelings and all of that stuff, and we were in Facebook groups like The Feed and Faces of Epilepsy and all of these things. And people were asking those questions. Can you have a seizure in sex? And so like, we never really even thought of it because it wasn't in our world. And now we're learning all of these different things. And so when all of these people were writing back, yes, we were like, whoa, like now what? How are we going to stay connected? I mean, we did Friday date nights and, we would go out together. So we had that connection.
Right. And what we did though, we didn't put emphasis on the intimacy. We
act.
That's right. We got intimate with our Bible, our faith. We built a relationship with God. We started a podcast, we raised successful children. We met Mike, we met Amy, we met Enrique, we met Harold, we met Bobby, all this from epilepsy. And so after epilepsy, this is the lifestyle we're living now. Before epilepsy, we didn't know anyone and our lives changed after epilepsy, but for the good.
And keeping it PG-13 because we're a PG-13 show. I will say the first time after Curtis was diagnosed, when we were intimate with each other, it was a lot of talking between the two of us. Every time there was a noise made or anything, are you okay? Are you okay?
That's the mother hen. She's trying to sit on the egg.
So it's a learning curve. And it definitely, I want to inspire people that you can still live your life. You can still do all of the things, before a diagnosis. For those of you that were born with it or had it at a young age and you're growing up and you're learning and you're in that dating age, 20s and learning stuff, just listen to your body. Just listen to your body.
That's right.
There's oftentimes Curtis is like, I feel like a little lightheaded. Okay, no problem. All we have is time.
But at first I didn't communicate that. I would just deal with the situation. And she look at me like, "Are you okay?" I would say, "Yeah, I'm all right." But these are some of the issues that we go through. But I want to know also, like, what are the some of the challenges nobody talks about?
So some of the challenges nobody talks about. That's a great question. It's for me, it's the anxiety. I didn't and to be very open and vulnerable here right now, I'm 51 and I'm going through perimenopause. So I'm already emotional roller coaster. So because my hormones are all over the place, it's a lot. My anxiety, Curtis's second seizure was a nocturnal seizure. And when you're in that peaceful zone, sleeping, and then all of a sudden you wake up to your partner having a seizure and you have to jump up and run to the bathroom or run wherever your rescue meds are at. The doctors tell you, grab a stopwatch. If you can record them. All of these things that you're trying to do half asleep, and then I don't want him to fall off the bed, so I'm running to his side of the bed to hold him on. And when someone's having a seizure, they tell you don't touch them, just make sure that they're comfortable, their head is protected. You don't want to touch them because they're powerful strength, they don't even realize it, and if they grab a hold of you, they will break a bone, and you don't stick nothing in their mouths. So luckily we have rescue meds. We use Valtoco. So we use Valtoco, and it stops
the inhaler.
Yes, it's a nasal inhaler, and one thing right in his nostril, and it stops his seizures like within seconds. So the side effect for Curtis is the headache, the sore nose, but it's better than having a seizure for however long the duration is. Seizures can last for seconds up to 5 minutes. And we've read and heard from other people in stories that they've lasted longer. Mike, what's the longest seizure you've ever had?
I was gonna say, I think 8 minutes. So
wow.
The problem some of us experience too are seizure clusters, right?
Okay.
So I'm one of those people. I won't have seizures for months. Sometimes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Then I have 8 or 9 in a day. And,
wow.
And it pretty much guarantees hospitalization, right? Because she'll hit the nasal. It's Nasalam is what we use. Similar thing. And she'll hit it, and I'll stop with the hard, big seizures, grand mal, if you will. But the vocals won't go away. Or she says, I'll come out of it, but I'm not here, right? Like I'm stumbling around, and I'm like, I need to just get to my studio. If I need to work, I just get to my studio. And she's like, no, babe, you can't go to your studio. You will break everything. Everything's breakable in here and more expensive than it should be. But anyway, so she will put me back. Sometimes she gives me 2, but I had the last time I was hospitalized last month, I had, I think they said 8 in that 6-hour period.
Right.
Whatever, 8 hours. So so some of us deal with that. Lucky enough.
Yeah, that's just some of the fun stuff that epileptics deal with.
Hey, let me ask the group, the guys out there watching or listening in, how do you guys deal with the anxiety after a seizure? Just chime in, let us know. There's people out there that are looking for your answer.
And we all just want to see what everybody else is experiencing. Because like for me, like I mentioned, it's the anxiety. And after Curtis has a seizure, I'm not going to lie, it's 30, 45 days before I can actually like sleep non-interrupted. And because any little movement thing, I'm like, are you okay? He'll tell you. Like after he has a seizure, his last seizure, knock on wood, was January 30th. So we're coming up to that 6 month mark where we can get our independence back,
Let's go.
We praise the Lord every day for that. So for me, for the whole month of February, I felt like I was a walking zombie because my anxiety was so high. Like any little movement he did, I was like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? And then to be completely honest and very vulnerable here, that annoyed him.
It did. It definitely did. And on top of that, it wasn't just that, because there's a bunch of different type of anxiety that comes along with epilepsy. And for me, one of them was financial stress. And I'm not supposed to have stress, but I couldn't work for almost 8 months. Like I ran through my whole savings before I can get clear to go back to work. So that definitely put a little bind on things with medications, because that stuff's not free and being
or cheap.
Right. And being you can't work, company will let you go so you don't keep the insurance. So we ran around for like 7 months with no insurance with epilepsy until we got a hold of the Epilepsy Foundation, and they put us in Epilepsy Alliance. They put us in contact with a bunch of great doctors. I mean, great doctors.
Yeah, for half the price.
For half the price. And for anybody out there looking for information on how to be successful in that matter, just reach out to us, because that's what we're here for. Information Lane stands for a reason, and we're here to help you guys navigate this journey as well, because when we started it, it was completely dark.
Yeah, we when Curtis got the rescue med for the prescription from the neurologist, we had went, and I mentioned this the last time, it's $2,500 for a box of them. I mean, that's ridiculous, especially in these situations. Some people don't have insurance, some do have insurance. And even with insurance, it was $800. I mean, it's one of those medications. And I think this is another crazy thing, is how life-saving medications are so ridiculously expensive.
That's right. And we know a lady, her name is Sharon. She's our jewelers, K Jewelers, shout out, always get the best stuff, always get the best price. But Sharon is an amazing person. She looks for us every time we go there. Well, we got to talking about it one day. She said, well, which one of y'all have epilepsy? I said, well, it's me.
We had our shirts
We
on.
always wear our shirts, God granted. But she said, well, which one of y'all have epilepsy? I said, well, it's me. She said, well, my mom and sister both have epilepsy. So we got to talking. Sharon is has an amazing soul, and she goes through a lot. She's one of the best caregivers that you'll ever see in your life. So what we did was we were discussing with her about the rescue meds, and she said, what did she say, baby? I never heard of that. And what we did was we gave her some.
And that gave me anxiety, because it was the only one that I had with me.
And the next day, her sister had a seizure, and they used that medicine. And I tell you what, brought her right out of the seizure. And so the next time we went there, because we go at least twice a month, get our jewelry cleaned and things like that, she told us she was so grateful. And I told her, I said, you don't have to be grateful for me. God told me to give you that today.
Yeah. And for like the anxiety again, because I'm taking the only one out of my purse to give to this person. And I'm thinking, God, we're out doing errands and we're like 30, 45 minutes from home. What if something happens? And Curtis just kept saying, God's got me.
I walk in faith. If I'm going to have a seizure, I'm going to have a seizure with or without rescue meds. I'm not going to know if I got a rescue med or not. All I know is when I wake up, there's a Band-Aid on my finger, I got a sore on my face, or I'm hurting real bad.
Bit his tongue.
That's right. But that rescue med, I don't know, I'm using it. So for me to give it to someone else to help save someone else's day, that's what I'm about. I'm selfless. I don't think about myself more than anyone else. And if we can help you, that's what we do.
Yeah. What kind of challenges have you had with medication, Mike?
Very similar. For me, it was Keppra was very hard on me. I find, if you look in our group, a lot of online groups, including ours, shout out Epilepsy Awareness South Florida. A lot of folks say they really have struggles and challenges with Keppra, and I get it. Keppra is the one size fits all kind of, it'll stop a seizure. Now, like in Curtis's case, it can make you very sick. In my case, it can be very depressing of a medication, extremely depressing, to the point of they give you other meds because of the depressive.
Right. We've heard that.
Yeah, and I went to multiple neurologists who just weren't interested in changing that. Finally got one, that did, and I feel much, much better. So for me, it was that, and the nasal lamp cost. Thankfully, once again, my wife is amazing, good program. I will say I understand the annoyance, but there was one time, allergies or whatever, and I was laying in bed, and I was like, it was kind of a sneezy, coughy thing that happened. It was like, and I sat up in bed. And she woke up out of like and she was in a dead sleep, and woke up freaked out. She's like, what? Are you okay? What do we need to do? What? Talk to me. And she like grabbed me. But in that moment is like my heart went out to her. Right?
Mine, I feel you.
Like I hate to say this, and it's true, but I don't know how I wouldn't just leave a woman, but like living with that. Now all of a sudden, because of me and something I have that I don't even control or want, my wife, the woman who loves me the most, has to go through more stuff in her life. She has to be more concerned. She has to hurt more. She has to see me in a way I never have to see myself, and deal with that trauma, for lack of a better way to say it. Because I know if I saw her doing that, it would traumatize me. It would freak me out. It would absolutely change my life, the priorities in my life, how important it was to be able to get a hold of her 24/7. And yeah, she would feel smothered AF, probably. She would be like, come on. Right. But if you love someone, what else do you do? Right. In something
Right.
that we have so real little control over. We're kind of just, playing defense here. So I will say for uh intimacy times and stuff, I highly recommend trying methylene blue. I know it's not for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. What I find it really, really does is it opens your brain. A lot of epileptics or even just non-seizure suffering epileptics have said that it works. I know some very trustworthy guys who are very successful. I'll say the name Chase Hughes. Feel free to look him up. Extremely successful. I've known him for a very long time. He has, published author, works with Dr. Phil, has millions of followers on his channels, and he suffers from seizures. And on Joe Rogan, he said, I take methylene blue.
Right.
And he wouldn't even give a name of the product he uses because he wasn't trying to encourage anyone else. But he said,
Right.
for my seizures, I take methylene blue, and it seems to really help. So I decided to add that as a supplement, not stop your meds, not change, not take
Right.
stock. But I started taking it, and it absolutely helps. Now, I take it about 3 times a week at most because I don't want to develop any kind of real tolerance to it. But methylene blue really helps my brain. It really does. And what I feel like it does is okay, so if we got a 5-speed transmission on seizures and we're always running it like 3, right?
Yeah.
We feel like, okay, 2 more steps and we could be in the danger zone.
That's
We're running
right.
at a 3. Methylene blue, I feel like, downshifts me to 2. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
without keeping the gas at 70, I feel like it downshifts me to 2. I'm like, oh, okay. I have a little bit more command over my mental facilities. And then the other thing I would say is touch and time are key. You know what I mean? If we're like, we got to do this one thing and we're going now. You know what I mean? Throw the football in the touchdown. As you know what I mean? But if it's if it's a more, hey man, we got no hurries. We're in this bed together.
That's right.
And we can, and we are, there are no, you know what I mean? There's no time limits. There's no obligations.
Yeah.
There's just us loving on each other.
Right.
That's right.
It, and that's all there is to this. There's nothing that has to get done. You know what I mean? There's nothing that has to be accomplished here other than feeling good. And that's cool. So
Yeah.
those would be my 2 little.
Hey, also, anybody out there in the crowd, explain to us how it affected intimacy in your relationship or in your life.
Or if it has, some people have had it since childhood. Some people were born with it, so they've never experienced the before and the after like we have. So that's one of the things. I know this may sound a little selfish, but I'm grateful that we had those experiences before because it's taught us so much now.
That's right. And we also want to share a little bit from our hearts. Here's a little bit of vulnerability from both of us. What keeps us going, Ashleigh? What keeps you going most throughout the process? Is it the victories? Is it the defeats? Is it the ability to come together as one?
No, it's my love language. My love language is acts of service. So my acts of service, when I'm making lunches, when I'm cooking dinners, when I'm, doing laundry, all of these things, wifely things that we do, and that's what keeps me going, is keeping my family together, keeping everybody happy, keeping our stress at a minimum, and just enjoying life. Like for me, that's what keeps me going.
That's right. For me, it's my faith. When I found Jesus, I found freedom, and my pastor will tell you, you'll find freedom inside this book, and that's the Bible. If you're not religious, I don't mean to offend you, but I'm Christian, and everything I push is in a Christian faith because that's what I believe in. Now that's how I heal. I don't know how you guys heal, but I heal through Jesus. Also, my family. That's what keeps me going the most, to make sure that they got a brighter day the next day. And community support. What we're here for is to help guys and gals who are out here struggling through this thing and have nowhere to turn. We had nowhere to turn either. So that's why we created a platform and a family, a bigger table, not a wall, so you guys can come and enjoy what life is supposed to be after epilepsy.
And we also want to encourage the single people out there that are watching us to show that you can have a successful relationship. It brings a lot of epilepsy brings a lot of depression to it, and so does the medication and the side effects. And a lot of people think nobody's going to want to deal with this. Nobody's going to want to help clean me up or do these things. No one wants to see this. I'm just not lovable. I have this condition, and that's so far from the truth.
That's right. And I want to thank my wife for always being there side by side, no matter what happens. After I come out of a seizure, if you mess with her, we'll still beat you up together. I'm just saying. And it's important to have a little bit of laughter. You can't be serious all the time. Like, laughter breathes the soul. Once you get a good belly laugh, all that you were upset about doesn't matter anymore. But you got to also celebrate the small victories. And that's what I mean, smile. If you just get up today and all you did was breathe, you made it. So
yeah, there's an importance in laughter and making memories together. And I'll say that for me, I don't have a sick sense of humor. I'm not a slapstick kind of girl. Curtis is. So like in the very beginning, when he has the seizures, I'm going to let him tell you, but I wanted this to be a good buildup. In the beginning, the only way Curtis knows how to deal with things is through humor and laughter. And that's just how he's dealt with things in the past with his
no idea what that's like.
Right? So, and I find that a lot of people with illnesses deal with it a lot of the same way. It's weird because it's like either a happy, it's a happy, or it's depressed. So for Curtis, he was, making fun of the illness. I don't want to say making fun of. That's not the right words. I
was coming to grip with what I had.
Right. And he's like, if you can't laugh about it, what's the sense?
I'm in misery.
Right. And, it's just like a lot of people when they're embarrassed, if they laugh at themselves, then you're not embarrassed. So for Curtis, he, made little jokes about it and stuff. And I'm like, that's not funny. Like, that's just not funny.
My daughter and I have a song, and we took it from SpongeBob. We say, oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea, SpongeBob SquarePants. He says, absorbing the yellow and porous is he. If nautical nonsense is something you wish, drop on the floor and flop like a fish. And my daughter, they
even came up with a dance. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Like, go ahead, show me your seizure dance.
She says you put your arms out front, lean side to side. They're gonna be seeing you when they see you hit that seizure, right? And let me tell you, that's the part of laughter, because she's seen it full hand, and like the fear in her eye, literally the fear in her eyes was something that I couldn't get out of my mind. So for me to make a joke about it, it helps her deal with it. It helps her smile. It helps us connect on something that's painful. So if you can't laugh about it, then I don't know what to tell you, but we heal through laughter. And it might not be a laughing situation, but to me and my daughter, that's how we connect with it. So you got to find a way to connect with it. You got to find a way to own it and just take it in. That's what your day is. That's your day.
And we want to ask some of the people in the audience a couple questions. You guys chime in, because we definitely want to hear what you have to say and respond. What has helped your marriage or partnership stay strong? For us, it's been laughter. And so I've learned to adapt to Curtis's humor. And I'm like, all right, well, it's better than crying. So let's just go with it.
That's right. And well, we want to know, what has helped your marriage? Anybody out there, chime in. We want to hear from you. What has helped your marriage? Where do you need help at? Can we help you?
And then I want to ask Mike and Curtis too, and I'll even answer the question too, but what's one piece of advice you'd give another couple facing epilepsy?
I would say trust. You got to trust each other. Here's the word again. I won't say it no more after today, is vulnerability. You have to let someone in. You got to let somebody in. You can't carry it by yourself. You're going to carry it by yourself, but you got to let somebody take over and help you. Put it in God's hand. Yeah. You can't do it all alone.
What about you, Mike? What's one piece of advice you'd give another couple facing epilepsy?
Yeah, same. Your caretaker is on your side. Don't mistake the person who loves you for epilepsy, the epilepsy we're going through. Just because they're very close to you doesn't mean they're that. Love them and they love you back. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys before we wrap is, are you gonna cry? You guys have taken on a new ministry. I know this is for a lot of folks. Hey, they're doing a podcast, cool, and they think, as you guys probably now know, getting into it, it's like, oh, that 1 hour that people see a week, there are hours upon hours poured into that. Like, that's not just. Right. There's a lot more that goes into it than a lot of folks know, and that's cool. No big, like anything and everything. That's great. There's a lot more that goes into it than a lot of folks know. But you took this on. Now, it's not like you guys weren't doing nothing. It's not like you guys were sitting there like, we need 25, 30 hours a week of work in our life that gives us nothing back in the beginning other than a good feeling and helping some folks. But like, there's not like money and we're not going to get fame and nobody's giving us an award. We just got to do this in faith and believe that we're going to reach people. And you are. And thank goodness and thank God. Thank you, Jesus, for you guys. Don't get me wrong, but I know that comes with its own set of challenges. It's like if me and my wife decided, hey, we're going to do a new thing. We don't even have children. You guys have kids, both full-time jobs, both very active in your community, both help other married couples in your community, both go to church in your community. So taking this on as a couple, because this is, you guys are locked. It's beautiful. Very seldom do you see this, which is we are a partnership.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any challenges with this have you seen? And what have you done to kind of maybe work it out so other folks know? Because whether it's epilepsy or just anything, there's a lot of very busy married couples that out of nowhere something comes upon them where they feel called to do something, or epilepsy one just drops in their lap.
Right.
What are some of your mechanisms and tools you guys have used to work through that?
Well, for this thing, it all started off. I was given the word. And I know some people don't believe in the spirit, but I was given the word obedience. And I don't know what it means to everyone out there. Post up, what do you think obedience means in your life? But for me, it was stay in the path, always walking in faith, no matter what the devil tried to put at me. You had to be persistent, just like anything else in life. If you want it, you got to go get it. And that's what we wanted. We wanted it so bad. Even though I work 16, 17 hours a day, I still come here. A positive attitude, because I always tell people I'll sleep when I'm under the ground. But while I'm up, I want to give as much impact as possible to the community, especially to the young people going through this. Listen, you had somebody to look up to. I never had anybody look up to growing up. I had people I didn't want to be like. But if I could see my younger self to my older self, I would look up to me. Because positivity is where you push. You don't know who you touch. You don't know who you impact. Always get up, be your superstar, and play your part, because everybody has a part in this. And epilepsy is just a diagnosis, but we come together under one cause, and that's family.
So why a podcast? Why doing these things? Why, when you mentioned have full-time jobs, we're raising children, like all of these things. For me, because I have a big heart, I knew the challenges we were facing. And I said, I don't want someone else that's just getting this to face those same challenges. I want to educate people. I want them to be able to come to us. I want to navigate all those stops in the road, the speed bumps. I want to stop that from happening so that these people have an outlet that they can come to and say, hey,
that's right.
It's just as if you're in a stick shift. We've used this scenario, you're first, second, third. I want them to go to first to sixth gear. I don't want people to have to get caught up in that stuff. You get told no so many times on different platforms, the medications from doctors. And that's one of the struggles is doctors don't listen to people, and you've got to advocate for yourself. You know your own body. I know my husband, when the doctor's telling him, oh no, we went to a doctor. This is a true story. We went to a doctor, and I said to the doctor, I think this was our second visit. And I said to him, in the middle of the night when Curtis is sleeping, he'll do this like jerk thing. And I'm like, he's never done that before. And the doctor looked at me and he goes, oh, everybody does that. I do it. The nurse does it. I said, no, this is new.
I pop, lock, and drop all night. I'm just to break out in one.
So I knew that at that point, this doctor is not the right doctor for us, which he wasn't. He didn't specialize in epilepsy, and we needed that. So this is why I'm doing that, because I want people to know that there are answers out there, and you need to keep asking those questions until you get the answer. And it's not the answer you want, it's the answer that gives you clarity.
And that's right. And we also want people to know that just because our leaders have pushed us to the side and silenced our voices, we have to come together as a group. And that's why we started Information Lane, because we're not scared. We'll stand against adversity. We'll take that on. And I will never leave this post until I'm properly relieved. So somebody's got to step the game up, or I'm always going to be here, because this is awareness. Awareness starts at home. Awareness is education. Education is key. So we need to figure this out together. And as the movement moves forward, just remember, we started this thing not for us, not for Mike, not for just the kids. We started it for everyone
the
across
community.
the world,
Yeah.
not just our community, the world who's going through something, who needs to feel believed in. And that's what we're here for. We're here to believe in you. We're here to put that word of God in you. If you accept it, if you don't accept it, just take the positivity, because regardless if you want to hear about Christ or not, my name is Curtis Lane. It's not Jesus. And what I'm doing is I'm carrying you a word that's coming from my heart, and please accept it, because like I told you in the beginning, I had to be what I prayed for, and that's understanding. So that's what Information Lane does. We're here to help you. We understand. We know what you're going through, because we're also going through it. But together as a team, we can beat it.
Yeah. And so, like, just as our closing message, I just want to say epilepsy may have changed our journey, but it didn't change our commitment. Love isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about choosing each other through them. If our story helps even one person feel less alone, then sharing it is worth it.
Well, I want to close in prayer, because I know we're running a little bit over. So if everybody please join with me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for getting us up this morning. Thank you for breathing the air into our lungs to help us release the good word that you have put out there for us to follow. Lord, obedience is everything that we're supposed to have in life. We're supposed to trust. We're supposed to love unconditionally. We're supposed to love unconditionally. Say it again. Love unconditionally. Lord, we really appreciate everything that you put in front of us. Even if it's the worst day of our life, Lord, you gave us a life. Thank you for epilepsy, because without epilepsy, this journey is impossible. Information Lane was built out of your name, and it's in Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.